Joining us here in studio, Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. We're discussing what happened yesterday in that impeachment trial. You know, you had mentioned, Tom, about what's happening, how Adam Schiff, and they're bringing up Les Parnas, and they're bringing up all these other things. I thought that they were supposed to be there, the impeachment managers, to present the case that they developed in the House. Why is Mitch McConnell allowing them to bring in all these things that have nothing to do with the evidence for the articles of impeachment?
I don't know why there's no objections. I mean, if this were a courtroom, and it isn't a courtroom, I mean, that's the problem. It's not a courtroom. Mitch McConnell's got 5 or 6 senators who may go south and already have gone south on certain issues as this trial is running. But on the other hand, a lot of this is noise signifying nothing. It's an abusive process. They're not getting the votes they want. I think what's remarkable yesterday is that you had a series of resolutions designed to make the Senate look bad.
Right.
And the Republicans all stuck together and said, we won't be bullied by Adam Schiff. We won't be bullied by Jerry Nadler. You're not going to take over the Senate. Mm-hmm. And they need to hold that line, and it's pretty clear they want an abbreviated trial schedule. If yesterday is any indication of what will happen in the future, they may not get any witnesses. I mean, this idea of Bolton coming in may not happen. And frankly, if they get witnesses, if I were the president, given everything that Schiff has been saying, I would seek to bring in everybody. I mean, everybody.
How do you grade both the Republican senators and the White House's legal team, Pat Cipollone and Jay Sekulow, how they were doing yesterday?
Well, it's the first time they had a chance argument on behalf of the president. They've had no access to witnesses. They've had no due process, at least the president hasn't. I would make it simpler. I think they get needlessly complicated about the legalities and the constitutionality issues here. They don't have the evidence. Schiff is mischaracterizing what happened, and you just can't allow him to come in here and get the blessing of the Senate to go on a fishing expedition. It's a pretty straightforward case. And they can't be allowed to abuse the Senate further.
Well, you know who accidentally made that very case yesterday? Senator Mazie Hirono on CNN. You want to hear her? Take a listen. This is Mazie Hirono on CNN.
For Bill Clinton's impeachment, the testimonies were done behind closed doors, videotaped, and then the video excerpts were shown to the members of the Senate. That would be following the Clinton precedent. Would that be acceptable to you?
If we were following the Clinton precedent, there would have been all of this discovery done at the House level, and that's not what's happening at all.
That's not what's happening at all. Just take it from Mazie Hirono. They should have done this in the House.
Schiff was king of the House for 2 months. He could have done it all, and he chose not to. And because he couldn't look. He didn't have a case to make. So he was taking gossip, he was taking innuendo, and substituting that for evidence. And so he goes to the Senate. Obviously, it's deficient. So what else is he going to do? Well, let's bring in John Bolton. Maybe he can give us more gossip about what the president said or didn't say. That there's no evidence the president had a political motive for doing this. And raising questions about Joe Biden doesn't mean there's an improper motive behind raising questions about Joe Biden. There's evidence Joe Biden did something wrong by his own admission. So the idea that he can somehow come in later after the fact, Adam Schiff can, and bring in additional witnesses to try to change the narrative that he's developed on his own, that there's nothing but gossip and innuendo, the Senate should just cast aside and reject. Let them make their argument. Let them try to characterize the witness, the evidence. But there's no reason, if you were in court saying, I've got good reason to go and harass the President of the United States and raise these core issues of executive privilege, the court would say, no, you haven't made a showing. Your allegations are not a reason for me to give you license to go and harass the President. You had that chance in the House. You used allegations to harass the President in the House. But in the Senate, we're not going to allow that abuse.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. Well, let me put it this way. I hope it gets interesting, because right now it's like watching grass grow. It's painful. I think we know how this ends. Unless there's some huge surprise, we're just watching taxpayer money be burned by the wheelbarrowfuls, and it's really, really wrong. Tom
And then the
Fitton-
Constitution's under attack. This is an undermining of our ability to elect our presidents and run our constitutional republic. This is terrible. In addition to the waste of funds.
Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your expertise. It is now 7:53 on WMAL.